Good morning, folks. We are here today from my garage, and it is a very special day because I have finally acquired something that I've been wanting since I started working on cars, and that is a four-post lift. So first things first, I wanted to talk about where I got this lift from. I bought it from a website called Mechanics Superstore. This video is not sponsored by them in any way, but they were really awesome to deal with. I actually ended up texting Chad from Mechanics Superstore, and he was a really awesome guy. It was the process for getting this thing was very simple. If you have access to a truck and a trailer, shout out to my buddy Tom. It's really easy to pick up this thing. All you need to do is show up with the truck and trailer. They drop it. It goes to one of their distribution centers, free shipping, and the distribution center will just take a forklift and load it onto your trailer. And that process was honestly like very, very simple. But Chad from Mechanics Superstore was a really good guy. He was genuinely interested in my situation and why I needed a lift and what cars I drive and everything like that. And honestly really great to work with. And the was missing a couple of the bigger nuts that hold the cables on the top here, and they were really awesome. They shipped them out to me immediately when I told them they were missing. Just really good people to work with, and it was a great experience. But the lift I chose was is the Triumph. It's a Triumph Classic, but it's a short. It's basically a very short lift. I think the whole between posts front to back is only 141 inches, and I chose that lift basically because of the amount of space I have in my garage. It's not a very big garage, and I still wanted right now I'm on a workbench. I think from the back wall to my garage door is about 20 to 21 feet, which is pretty standard for a 2-car garage. But I still wanted some room to be able to work, and I have this workbench here. Most of my cars are pretty small. The 2 cars I have on the lift right now, the Exocet and my 3 Series wagon, are the 2 biggest cars I'm going to have in here. Most of the time, it's probably going to be my Turbo Miata and my GR86 if it ever wants to come in. I've had that thing on order since January, and I'm still waiting on it. And honestly, there's still plenty of room. I have 2 workbenches in here. The 2 workbenches is temporary because I'm diving into Project Exocet right now. I needed the extra bench space, but I do have a fold-up bench, which saves a lot of room. And the downside to having the 2 benches in here right now is that I have to have my toolbox here, which when I'm parking the 2 cars in here, I don't really have access to. And so that's a little inconvenient at the moment, but the tool bench will be in this area when I'm done with Project Exocet. So yeah, the lift it's a 4-post 8,000 pound limit lift, which is way higher than anything. I think the heaviest car I'll probably ever have on here is my E46 wagon, and that's I think that's just north of 3,200 pounds or somewhere around there. I'm not sure off the top of my head. So the weight limit is much higher than it. I'm not even gonna meet half that. And the maximum height that this lift can actually lift up is 69 inches, which is plenty for the amount of headspace I have, which is my ceiling. Luckily enough, I was lucky enough to have a high ceiling in this garage. I think I measured from the floor to the ceiling after I sheetrocked and insulated it all is somewhere around 10 feet 8 inches, somewhere around there. Which I have the 2 tallest cars in here. So let me just pull this thing up 1 second. Have my 2 tallest cars in here. The Exocet is definitely taller than my Turbo Miata, and I've got it at the 2nd highest lock right now. And I probably could go to the highest lock if I were to move around some of the lights and everything, but I mean, right now, it's super easy to get in and out. I feel totally confident pulling the BMW in here, and when I have the GR86, that's going to be even lower, and it's actually the same width. The 3 Series is the same width as the GR86, so it's going to be a really nice setup once I actually move this bench back out of here when I finish the Exoset. Don't mind the mess in here. Really diving into Project Exoset now, so like it's always a mess. If you've ever had a project car, you know the deal. So one of the things when getting a lift you really have to consider is, was my biggest hurdle, was the garage doors. And I did a lot of reading. There's this website out there that like kind of specializes in this. I think it's DDM Garage. They actually can sell you can give them all the specs for your garage door, and they can sell you a conversion kit that will actually have all the pieces cut and everything like that, so that you can actually just bolt on a high lift conversion. I feel like I did enough reading, and I tackled the job myself. It was, I mean, you got to do your research before jumping into something like this. Garage doors are seriously heavy. This thing's 145 pounds because it's an insulated garage door, and you're lifting it, almost 11 feet in the air. It's something you really don't want to mess with. I've got kids, going in and out of the garage. It's just, you gotta do your research. You can't hack something like this. You gotta make sure you have the proper spring tension and everything like that. I had to add two torsion springs to this system to get it to work. And I also did one of these jack shaft like Lift Masters lifts as well, which those things are fantastic, unbelievably easy to set up. So that's the first hurdle. If you want to have a lift for parking. I mean, if you're just working on cars and you're never going to like open the door with the car up in the air, you don't have to worry about this so much. But I've actually seen it twice in my life where people have opened doors with cars on the lift, and one of them was needed a new trunk, and the other one was probably someone watching this video right now. I'm not going to mention it, but it happens. Sorry, buddy. That kind of thing happens. I mean, it ended up breaking a rear window for somebody I know, so it really sucks. So the lift is very, very easy to use. I'll show you that process now. Let me just pull the BMW out real quick. So operating the unit's actually very, very simple. One of the nice things is that it does run off of 110 power. I have tripped the breaker a couple times. I have 14 gauge wire in all the outlets in this garage, and it's on a 20 amp circuit. They say it's 110 30 amp, so I'm gonna wire this thing on its own circuit, so I stop popping the breaker. But and I'll probably wire in some like 10 gauge wire or something like that. I'm guessing that's why. It's really weird though, because when I have the extension cable plugged in, I've yet to pop the breaker. It was only when I had the unit directly plugged into the outlet. I'm sure some of the electricians would probably know why that was happening. I only know like very, very basic electrician stuff because my brother-in-law is an electrician, and he's showed me how to do like basic wiring and stuff like that. But yeah, I still have to wire in. I'll get some 10 gauge wire and wire in. It's a 30 amp, or I think they have 30 or 25 amp outlets. I'm just gonna have the lift like on its own circuit, so I stop popping the breaker. But yeah, operation's very simple. I mean, lift and then drop. And the one area that I had some issues with was actually the manual locking system. You really have to spend the time to tune this, I guess, or make your adjustments so that they all evenly open and completely open. So this handle right here, actually, it releases the locks that actually sit. There's a whole bunch of different locking points, and as soon as you go over them and drop it down, it drops onto those locking points, and then To release it, you lift up the lift slightly and then pull this lever, and that opens up the 2 locks on the front. And then there's actually a rod that goes all the way through to the front. And then connects to the 2 locks over here. And it took a little while, but you really got to take your time and make sure that you're not tightening these down all the way. That was one of the issues I did first, is that, you know, just out of instinct, I tighten these all the way down, and then when this rotates, it binds up this rod, and you have to allow the rod to be able to rotate, so they can't be tightened all the way. But it took a little while, but I was able to finally like get it set right, and it's super reliable and super safe. But there was one point where I think it was like the first time I tried lowering it, where I lifted it up off the stops, and it didn't completely lift or pull out the safety latches, and I actually had one of them get stuck. Luckily, I was looking for that to happen, and I didn't let it go down too far. But you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. I mean, these are no joke, like lifts. You got to make sure everything's working properly. So the other adjustments you have to make on these is actually with the cable tension. So for all 4 cables, there's actually a nut on top here, and it's for actually adjusting the tension here. And you want what it's doing is it's making sure that your lift points for all 4 of the posts are exactly the same. And the way I was able to do that is actually I put the lift up here. I'll actually do this process now. So what I did to adjust the cables is actually just bring the lift up so that it was just over one of the safety blocks, and I actually measured this distance right here. And by using the nut and adjusting the cable up on top, I actually got all 4 of them to be basically as close as possible. I just used a ruler to measure that. And then, you know, once they're all close, you can also hear when you're lifting it up, all the safety latches should go past the blocks at the same time. You hear it audibly. Yeah, so you hear that? And then basically just once you get it to your desired height, you make sure all of them have cleared the blocks, and then you just take the hydraulic tension out. And there you go. Now you're safe to work on the car. I really like this height for working on wheel stuff, brake stuff. I actually just mounted the seats in this car too. It's really nice being able to, you're not breaking your back and you're not laying on the ground getting all dirty. It's something that's just really, really nice. Not to even mention that you're creating an extra spot in your garage. So assembling this lift was actually not that bad. It was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I did 99% of the work all by myself. I needed help for a couple of things. I had the one side of the ramp that has all the hydraulics underneath it. I couldn't lift that up. I tried. It was just, I would have broken my back trying to lift that up. Besides having my neighbor come over to help me install that really quick, I did most of this by myself. The one part I couldn't do as well was I needed a little bit of help. Shout out to Drive It Ryan. He came over and it was basically, I was trying to figure out the latches. Like I needed somebody on the other side to actually see what the latches were doing. I couldn't pull the handle from one side and see what was happening on the other side. So shout out to Drive It Ryan for helping me out with that. But everything else I did all by myself. It wasn't fun, I would say. It's one of those things that like I was excited because I've wanted a lift forever, so I didn't want to wait. It was also taking up a ton of space in the garage, so I put it together. I wanted to get my wife her spot back, so I was trying to get this done as soon as possible. But most of the work, all I had was a standard floor jack for a car, and then a couple of like Harbor Freight dollies and some sawhorses. So those just to help me like hold the ramps up while I was bolting everything together. But in all honesty, like, sorry I didn't do any like video on the install or anything like that. It was just it was me by myself. There was no way I could add filming to that. I just wanted to concentrate and get it done. But there's videos online of these being put together. It can be done by yourself if you have the right tools. So, I mean, that's it. This was just a real quick overview. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to post them down in the comments, or message me on Instagram, anything like that. I just wanted to do a quick overview of this thing. I am so happy, and now I get to really like dive into Project Exoset, and having this tool has been super helpful so far. Yeah, that's it for this one. I mean, check out our webinars. We give away tuner parts. All you have to do is just buy a seat, watch the webinar which is a review of the part, and then we're giving them away. We really gotta, we've had people that have been signed up for these webinars for a while. We gotta finish selling out of these so we can give these things away. And also check out track photos. I do photos at Lime Rock. If you've been to an event with modified machines or toge battle, I probably have photos of your car up online. It really helps support the channel, and helps, and we want to give something back to you guys at that point with photos and these part giveaways. So that's it for this one. Stay tuned. We're gonna have more. I'm gonna do an update video on Project Exoset pretty soon. I've been making some good progress, and I bet you guys are pretty excited to see that, all 5 of you that watch the videos. But that's it for this one. Done.